How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Data here, and welcome back to the Pittsburgh Penguins franchise mode, episode number 11, headed into the second half of year number 3 with the Pens, the 2025-26 regular season. In the last one, we left off at the halfway point with the best record in the NHL, 27-10-4 through 41 games, on pace to go 54-20-8. That would be an incredible record. Both our power play percentage and our penalty kill percentage has been among the best in the league. We're firing on all cylinders. Alex DeBrincat is on pace for a 50-goal season through the halfway point. DeBrincat, Draisaitl, and even Josh Morrissey all leading the team in points with 37 through 41. Gensel has 34. Sidney Crosby still there at the age of 38 with 31 points. Evgeny Malkin at 39 years of age has 28 points. Taylor Hall, who we got at the draft last season, 27 points at 34 years of age. He's looking very good, on pace for over 50 points. Rust has had a huge revival. He's on pace for over 50 after scoring somewhere in the mid-40s last year. Letang, 26 and 37. Berkeley Catton, the rookie, 25 points. He's on pace for a 50-point rookie season. I think he had something like 3 points through his first 12 games on the second line. Last episode, we moved him down to the third line, and I think in the 12 or 13 games after that, he went point per game. So he's been looking very good on that third line with Taylor Hall and Isaac Lundstrom. Aaron Ekblad in his first season with us, 20 points, on pace for 40. There's Lundstrom, and then the rest of the lineup is pretty much our fourth line and our bottom two defensive pairs. We're trying to figure out what the best course of action is there, because as you can see, from Nate Smith down to Blake Wheeler, not too many points and not the greatest plus minuses either. So we'll take a look on that. That's pretty much the biggest thing that the assistant general managers had to chime in on. When we check out the goaltending, Mackenzie Blackwood has been holding down the fort, 19-7-3 through 29 appearances. He is the reigning Vezina and Jennings Trophy winner. 3 shutouts as well, with a .918 save percentage and 2.31 goals against average. He's backed up by the sophomore Joel Blomqvist, who's also an 84 overall. He's been doing better as of late, 10-4-1 on the season, 896 save percentage, 3.12 goals against average. Not the most incredible numbers, but they have been getting better. Most notably, he was between the pipes for the 3-1 victory against the Hurricanes. That made it, I believe, 4 in a row, and we are 9-1-0 in our last 10 games. So as the title of the last episode says, we put the league on notice in the first half of the season. A lot of people think that we were done maybe a couple years ago. Last year, we make the Stanley Cup final. This year, we're on top of the league through the halfway point. Every team in the league should be very afraid of what we are capable of. Gensel, Draisaitl, DeBrincat on that top line with a +5. Russ, Crosby, Malkin on the second with the +3. Hall, Lundstrom, Catton on the third with the +1. And the fourth line, as of now, has been Koepke, Smith, and Engvall, but that's still with Zucker and Wheeler in the press box, essentially. When we look at defense, just a quick reminder of what our pairs are. Morrissey, Letang with a +5 on the top pair. Ekblad and Zadorov on the second, and Ty Smith has been playing a lot of time with Libor Hayek. And of course, we got Blomqvist and Blackwood. Blackwood will be starting next game. Seventh defenseman is Lucas Cormier, who we're trying to get some growth out of. He's 23. He's probably better suited for the AHL, but we want to try and give him the most opportunity to succeed, as he doesn't have a lot of growth left in him at 23 years of age. Down in the AHL, just another reminder there, we have Braden Yeager, who's leading the way. I think he has 31 points in 36 games, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, there you go. Callan Lind, we're also keeping an eye on Owen Pickering. So life is good in Penguins land, but we want life to stay good, right? We've been doing extremely well. We're on top of the league, but we have had some, I wouldn't say depth issues, because the top 9 has been very solid. It's more just, we got to make sure the guys who are playing 6, 7, 8 minutes a night are not liabilities for us. The third pair the fourth line for the forwards and the third pair for defense have had their struggles. Ty Smith has been a consistent guy out there. 7 assists, -2. Okay, he's not really going to grow much more than that, I don't think. But the other position, the player who's been right side left D, that guy's been kind of rotating in and out. Hayek's been okay so far, but we got to make sure that not only can we win with this group, but would we be able to sustain this level of success if we were to be hit by an injury? So with not really anything that we'd want to tweak in our lineup, but a few good options on the trade block should it become necessary, we turn now to the assistant general managers who added some of their thoughts in the last episode. So the biggest concern amongst the assistant general managers seems to be, can we trust Isaac Lundstrom? One, just as the third line centerman, but two, should there be some sort of injury to the top six? Like, yes, Malkin in a pinch could play center. He has 75 faceoffs. That's fine. But we're talking about larger scale type of things, or even just the third line itself, because no one in this bottom six could really come up aside from Nate Smith. Then you have Nate Smith as your third line center. That'd be a long-term thing. But as long as Lundstrom's doing well, I don't mind him in this role. It's his first full NHL season in a couple years. He's on pace for 32 points, which I think would be a career high. He's doing well. I have no problem with him. But he wasn't great in the preseason, where he had 1 goal and was a -4 in 7 games. So did he shake that entirely? Could he revert to that form? That's what a few people have been concerned with, and that's what Gavin has to say in this comment. David Krejci stands out to me. He's on the block right now. He hasn't retired in this universe. Although he's 39 years old, he's still an 84 overall playmaking center that could potentially fill that third line role if Lundstrom goes back to his preseason self. Then also adding in, found your channel recently and have been enjoying it all summer. Go Pens. Well, thank you very much for saying so, Gavin. I hope that I've gotten you through a few tasks, maybe mowing the lawn once or twice. I thank you for adding your thoughts right here. I think Krejci would be a fantastic addition, especially if it's just a 1-year expiring thing at the deadline, if Lundstrom does start to fall off. I think at this point, I'm content with giving him the reins to say, you're doing well, you're on a career high pace, keep going, not going to ruin that for you. But if we do need to fall back on someone, I think Krejci is a great option. Next comment coming in from Mr. Jeremy Cuddles, who says, fantastic first half, not sure much needs doing. Don't really have the roster spots to be adding much. That's very true as well. Trades can even derail success. EA logic, don't we know that? I don't know, I like what we have going on. Only thing is, I do love having a left D with a right D. Currently we have Libor Hajek, who's a left D playing the right side. I just think they sim better that way. Finding a cheap third pair right D is something I'd like to see, but at the same time, it ain't really broke. Team is flourishing, just a matter of maintaining that success, hopefully through to June. Thank you, Mr. Jeremy Cuddles. Appreciate that. As we see on defense, it's left and left on this bottom pair. And our other option, Lucas Cormier, is also a left D. And then down in the AHL, other options that we've also had in the background, Henry Thrun, left D, and then even Gilden, who's left D. So not a lot of right-handed options in our system. Now, speaking of defense, he's not a right-handed D, but Ratman left a suggestion over in the Discord server saying, great video data, thank you very much. I would trade Lucas Cormier for Ryan Suter in Seattle for the playoffs. Suter, I believe, is 40 years of age and a 79 overall with the Kraken. They are a team that is selling, and they are below 500 if I recall correctly, but he's a left-handed D. Although we'd like to see growth from Lucas Cormier, Ryan Suter is a veteran, a solid two-way player, and a great teacher for Ty Smith or even Owen Pickering, perhaps. Go Pens. So in general, I do agree with the notion that Jeremy raised that you would like to have a left D with a right D. It tends to simulate a bit better just in some anecdotal instances, but at the same time, I wouldn't say that it's something that I hold myself too strongly. So if we were to go out and make some sort of defensive change, Ryan Suter as an expiring guy, a veteran presence, even though he's left-handed, I think that would be fine to play him with Ty Smith on the third pair. I think that would be if Libor Hajek's not doing well, and also if we decide to trade Lucas Cormier. I don't want to give up on him yet. We got him from Vegas a couple years ago, 2 solid seasons with the Penguins in the AHL, 5 points in 29 games in the NHL. What can you really expect too much from a young guy who's playing over his head? I think he's done okay, but it's not the issue of has he done okay. The actual issue is, will he ever grow? He's already 23, a 76. I would be shocked if he ever gets anywhere beyond an 80 overall. But at the same time, I also want to pull myself out of EA land a little bit and think about it from the real general manager perspective. This guy's 23, he's young, first year in the NHL, he's done okay. It's been a very small sample size. I don't know if I want to give up on him just yet. It's kind of that mix of, yes, we see overalls and potentials and we know the EA algorithms, but at the same time, realistically, we wouldn't know that, he's not, quote, growing, so let's trade him. It can be a difficult balancing act in franchise mode land sometimes, I do have to say. Now, on top of that, there were some other good comments that, in terms of forwards, we're thinking about Phil Kessel, 80 overall expiring deal, bring him back to Pittsburgh. also on Seattle, coincidentally. So if we were to get Ryan Suter, maybe we pick up Phil Kessel at the same time. He's doing quite well on a team that isn't very good. That's why he has the trade value that he does. He has 34 points in 44 games, playing on the third line in Seattle. That's something. Another couple players who are also suggested in a few other comments that we can't get to in episode here were Walman and McCabe over on the Detroit Red Wings. Walman, left-hand D, and then, you got to scroll down manually, and McCabe also left-handed D. So, again, no really great right-handed options available for us, but some expiring contracts that would really help us to load up on a Stanley Cup final run, in my opinion. So, I think headed into the second half, we still want to see more from the third pair D, the fourth line forwards, the third line forwards, stuff like that. But I would say that heading into the deadline, any one of Walman, McCabe, or Suter would be an interesting pickup for the third pair. And for the forwards, I think I'd only really be considering Phil Kessel, unless there's some sort of meltdown in the bottom six where we would go out and think about David Krejci. So all that being said, there is my game plan. All the assistant general managers are up to speed with what GM Data is thinking in his positronic brain. We're now moving into the second half of this third season with the Penguins. We are 27-10-4, taking on the 26-11-5 New York Rangers at PPG Paints Arena. In the Metropolitan, they are right behind us. We have a game in hand, and we're also 1 point above them. So this is actually a huge divisional matchup. Mackenzie Blackwood back between the pipes. We're looking to make it 5 consecutive wins. And of course, I think I hadn't really glossed. Actually, you know what? I'm going to get to that right after this. Let me finish this game, and then I'll tell you what I was thinking about the goaltending. First period, 0-0 after 20. Second period, 2-2. All right. Interesting period. As Isaac Lundstrom opens the scoring, he heard us talking about him. Matthew Robertson ties it up. Then Sidney Crosby, 3 minutes later, restores our lead. And then Capo Caco on the power play ties it back up at 2. Third period now. In the final 20 minutes, we're leading in the shots. Power play Penguins here in this third period. That's killed off by the Rangers. Another power play opportunity for Pittsburgh once more at home in front of the fans, but the Rangers kill off 2 power plays in the third period. That is huge for their momentum. We're leading in shots 36-26 though. With under 5 to go, we are still all tied at 2. Final minute of play, and we're headed to 3-on-3 overtime. Shots 37-29 in our favor, and we're going to go ahead and hop into this one. In overtime, here at home in front of the fans, Draisaitl, DeBrincat, and Letang are out. Rangers win the faceoff. Zibanejad, hold on, off of DeBrincat's skate. Now here's Letang picking it up. He has a lot of space. Letang going into the corner, into the skates of Adam Fox. Playing DeBrincat from a short angle. That's stopped by Shesterkin. Back around the bend, and Zibanejad now has a lot of space on his side. He's going to take it into just the skates of 2 refs. Panarin skates into traffic, and DeBrincat picks it back up. Here comes Alex DeBrincat back the other way. A lot of back and forth already. DeBrincat one-timer in front. Draisaitl can't get the shot off as he's tied off by a Ranger. Fox comes right back the other way. Those 2 refs get in the way again. Fox in front. Oh, sprawling is Mackenzie Blackwood to rob Artemi Panarin and hang on for the face-off. What a save on the doorstep. Let's see this one again, and why would we? Why would we? But that was a fantastic save. He gets it up to Gensel, who's skating 2-on-2 with Letang. Gensel looking for options, gets it to Letang. Now Crosby's the trailer. That was a weird play. Gets the scores! Jake Gensel in overtime. I couldn't quite see the puck through those couple bodies. I think Shesterkin made a save, and then Gensel, either it was a rebound off Crosby or his own rebound, but regardless, he was in tight and finished it off. 3-2 Penguins, the final. Let's see this here. Yeah, I think it was his own rebound, and Panarin couldn't clear it out. Then Shesterkin couldn't get there in time, and Gensel finishes it off. Game-winning goal to make it 5 in a row. Shots in that one ended 40-31 in our favor to give us 5 in a row. AHL injury, we can survive that. And Blackwood once again looking very strong. What I was going to say before the episode started, there were some thoughts in the comments about Blackwood has shown himself to still be on that elite level. Although we want Blomqvist to grow, we got to make sure that Blackwood is definitely getting the majority of the starts. Pretty much Blomqvist only going to be playing in back-to-backs, I think. So I'm going to go ahead and put in Blomqvist for this game, as the Stars are 19-23-1. Then for that game against the Red Wings and moving forward, we'll be back to Blackwood. All right, still at home after a big 3-2 victory in overtime against a division rival. Now we're taking on the visitors from Texas, the Dallas Stars. Let's hit it. First period, 0-0. Second period, 2-0 Penguins. Gensel and Draisaitl, that top line getting it done. And third period ends 3-1 the final. Donskoy breaks the shutout, but Crosby adds a power play goal. Shots and 30-26. And Blomqvist once again looked good. 25 saves from him. All right, that's what we like to see. Again, it's nothing against Blomqvist. It's just Blackwood's been doing so well. They've got to make sure that he continues to get the majority of the starts. So Blackwood will play here against the Red Wings and then continuing onward until the next back-to-back. So continuing onward now with Blackwood starting the next 3 games against the Red Wings, Hurricanes, and then Canucks. Okay, AHL injury update. All right, back to normal. It was a 4-3 overtime loss against the Red Wings, then a 3-2 overtime win against the Hurricanes. We started the season doing horribly beyond regulation. I think we were like 4-3-4 to start the year. Then a 2-1 win against the Canucks. So the Red Wings broke our winning streak at 6 games. Then we win 2 right after that. We have won 8 of our last 9, or 9-0-1 in our last 10. I believe that brings us to a record of 15-1-1 in our last 17 games. Incredible stuff. So we're going to go ahead and give this start against Calgary to Blomqvist, this one back to Blackwood against the Jets, and then we'll keep on simulating. And just as I started simulating, Ty Smith suffers a mild concussion. That'll keep him out until February 9th. I believe it's the end of January, start of February. So this won't be a long-term thing. Hayek will shift to the left side, and Cormier will come in on the right side. All right. So with Blomqvist between the pipes, we lose 4-3 in overtime against Calgary. Then with Blackwood back between the pipes, it's a 4-3 victory against the Jets. And then we get shut out 1-0 against the Bruins. That's tough. Headed into the All-Star break, I believe. So, okay, Ty Smith already back. Lovely. All is well in the world through the All-Star break. Everyone's sleeping well, eating well. Let's get the calendar glitch back to normal. Okay, so we'll keep going to the game against the Oilers here. Stanley Cup final rematch. We already played them earlier in the season where we won. We lose in overtime 5-4 against the Ducks. And sore foot for Ekblad is going to keep him out like 2 weeks. So I guess that's going to mean Ty Smith moving up in the lineup. He's had top 4 experience before, so that's not an issue. And then Cormier will return to the third pair with Hayek on the left side. Big opportunity for you here, Cormier. Run with it, buddy. Let's see what you can do. It is February 15th. Okay, we get shut out 3-0 by Vancouver. Yikes. Then we beat Vegas 4-3, and we win, 5-4 in overtime against the Predators. A lot of tight 1-goal games here, especially, and as well as getting shut out over the last couple of weeks, twice over the last couple of weeks. So we are 34-12-7, taking on the 31-23-2 Edmonton Oilers, a very strong team. We beat them 2-1 in overtime. I remember this actually quite well. We were down 1-0. I think it was Taylor Hall who scored late to tie it up, and then I forget who scored in overtime. It may have been Draisaitl, but we won after tying it up late. So here we go, facing them for the second time since losing in 6 games in the Stanley Cup final last year, simulating this one at home as well. They are having a very good season here as reigning Stanley Cup champions. First period, 1-0 Oilers. It's Zach Aston-Reese on Mackenzie Blackwood. Shots 14-5 for Edmonton through 20 minutes. Yikes. Second period, 3-1 Penguins. That's what we want to see. Leon Draisaitl scores against his old team to tie it up. Then Gino Malkin, he's still got a little bit of gas left in the tank. He's been slowing down, literally, but he gives us the 1-goal lead, and then Jake Gensel adds to it. 2-goal lead for us. 3-1 is the score. Shots are 26-18 for the Oilers headed into the third period. Power play Penguins, and Brian Russ scores just as the power play expires. Power play Edmonton is killed off, and then Josh Morrissey adds an even strength goal to make it 5-1. Draisaitl with his second makes it 6-1. From down 1-0 to up 6-1. 6 unanswered with 6 minutes to go here in the third period. Being outshot by 10. The Oilers are being shut down by Mackenzie Blackwood, and that'll be all she wrote. Penguins win 6-1 the final. My goodness. 35 saves from Mackenzie Blackwood gets him the second star honors. Josh Morrissey, a goal and 2 assists for third star. And the former Oiler, Leon Draisaitl, with 2 goals and an assist in that 6-1 victory. You love to see it. That is win number 35, and I think that I'm comfortable enough to say let's simulate towards the deadline now. I think we're going to go... Yeah, I'll do Blackwood against the Blue Jackets, then Blomqvist against the Avalanche. I forgot to make a change, actually, for the Canucks and Vegas split, but I believe the computer would have done that one themselves. 4-3 overtime win against the Blackhawks. 2/3 for a third, and Jake Neighbors, no thank you. Predators, we just beat in overtime a week prior. We beat them 4-3. Ekblad fully healed, lovely. Lucas Cormier, how you doing, buddy? You got 2 goals and an assist in like 5 games. Okay, of course, a lot more ice time, so I didn't replace on all lines. He took Ekblad's ice time. But Lucas Cormier scores 2 goals and an assist in those last 5 games. Hayek, still nothing new. So you know what? I'm going to say Ty Smith obviously goes back to his position. Ekblad will take back his ice time from Cormier. But then I'm going to put in Cormier for Hayek and try to give him a little bit more opportunity out there. I know it's going to be in a much reduced role than the one he was doing replacing Ekblad. But let's see a little bit more from Lucas Cormier. 8 points in 35 games, that's close to a 20-point pace in a regular season. So you know what? Yeah, let's do it. And goaltending, everything's still normal here. Blackwood, good numbers. Blomqvist looking all right. Good, good, good. 5-2 loss there against the Blue Jackets. We're going to go Blomqvist now against the 28-26-5 Avalanche. All right, he's there. Let's sim through this one. At home, hosting the Avalanche, who are 5-4-1 in their last 10. We lose 3-2 in the shootout. Blackwood back from the pipes now for the next 3 games before the trade deadline. Vegas, New Jersey, then St. Louis. Jaeger and King for David Savard and a 5th. Yeah, that's a good one. Vegas 31, 22, and 8th, and then they want to make us trade with us after we beat them by a score of 4-3. A lot of 1-goal games here, I gotta say. We lose 6-5 against New Jersey, Mackenzie Blackwood's old team, and now we will slow sim this one against St. Louis before the trade deadline. The Blues are 30, 22, and 7. Let's see, last game before the deadline here. Looking for win number 39 on the season. So slow. First period, 2-1. Kyrie opens up on the power play. Then Crosby and Hall come right back. 2-1 Pittsburgh after 20. Second period, 3-1 thanks to Alex DeBrincat on Jordan Binnington. Shots 22-20 for the Blues. But we're up by 2. Make that up by 3 thanks to Jake Gensel. Then Zach Benson comes right back. 4-2 game. Power play Penguins killed off by the Blues. It's a 2-goal game, worst lead in hockey, but we're going to hang on to it for the last 10 minutes here. Power play Penguins at the 9-minute mark or so. That's killed off once again. Up by 2 with under 5 to go, leading in the shots category. Final couple minutes, and that'll be all she wrote. 4-2 the final. Shots end 34-29 for our 39th win. Blackwood makes 27 saves in that victory. So now through 61 games, let's go ahead and take a pause here and check out the team's performance over the last 20 games. Through 61 games, we have Leon Draisaitl leading the way with 60 points. DeBrincat 59, Gensel 50, Crosby 49. Morrissey fell off a little bit compared to Draisaitl and DeBrincat, but still 48 points from him. Malkin 42, Letang 38, Hall 36. Rust has slowed down a little bit as well. I doubt he gets 20 points in the next 20 games to keep up the pace that he was on. Berkeley Catton also slowed down, so maybe we want to look at doing some changes on that third line. 32 points and negative 10 from Catton. That actually makes him a negative 8 over the last 20 games. Ekblad 30 points, Lundstrom 18. I don't think he's really budged at all. Actually, he has not. No points in the last 20 games for Isaac Lundstrom? What? Or did he have 16? I think he had 16, so 2 points in the last 20 games. Yeah. But still, that's crazy. Ty Smith, Nate Smith, Zadorov. Cormier has 8 points in 40 games. Hasn't really done much since we put him in like 10 games ago. Engvall, Kepke, Zucker. Yeah, not really happy with the lower end there. Goaltending, Blackwood is 29, 10, and 4, still with his same 3 shutouts, 911 save percentage, 2.62 goals against. His numbers have actually gotten a little bit worse, while Blomqvist's have gotten better. He's 12, 5, and 4 with a 908 save percentage and 2.76 goals against. Meanwhile, I'm curious, what's up over in Seattle? I would just want to see what's up with Suter, Kessel. Kessel 44 points in 58 games. And even Ryan Suter, actually, yeah, he has 18 points and he's a +6. Not bad from the 41-year-old who, yeah, still 79 overall. I know we have internal options, Blake Wheeler, Jason Zucker, but they have not been great. Jason Zucker in the 20 games he played had 3 points and was a -5, and Wheeler in 13 games had no points and was a -3. But he's still an 84 overall. Last year he was point per game after we had gotten him from the trade deadline. Maybe we try to infuse the lineup with a little bit of Blake Wheeler? I don't know. That third line definitely needs some help here. I don't know if it's moving out Lundstrom or just moving down Lundstrom. Kepke has not looked good. 5 points and a -9. Maybe we do something here where Lundstrom's going to go fourth line right wing. Maybe we do something where it's Lundstrom, Smith, Engvall on the fourth line to end off the season, and Hall and Catton get a different centerman. Could Blake Wheeler play center? 70 faceoffs. Or maybe even Malkin goes third line center. And then someone else goes second line left wing, like a Phil Kessel. That would be another type of option for us there. And if we were to make a trade, who is used as trade bait? Do we use Lucas Cormier and just, pull the plug on his experiment? 8 points in 40 games on like a 15 to 17 point pace. He's a +5. Again, it's that balance, but he's not really going to grow. I think we might have to just bite the bullet here, ladies and gentlemen. Lucas Cormier, I'd love to see him grow. He signed on for 2 more years at $975K. But if we wait and nothing happens, either we lose him for nothing or we trade him for very little. At least at this point right now, there are still teams that conceivably would want him. They'd want to take a chance on trying to develop him. He's looked good. He's not bad. Maybe we can even circle back to him someday. But he has value. We can throw in Koepke, who wouldn't be re-signed probably after this season anyways if he's going to be wanting like 1.1, 1.2 million. He's not been good. 5 points, -9 this season. He's been very good in the past. Don't get me wrong. 22 points last season, but this year on like a 10-point pace. In the postseason as well last year, 6 points in 24 games, 4 goals. He was clutch at times. But honestly, if we picked up Phil Kessel, Koepke would be like 14th forward. With Zucker, with Wheeler, with Engvall in there, Koepke just would not get the ice time. So if we move Koepke and Cormier to the Kraken for Phil Kessel and Ryan Suter, 2 expiring contracts, 2 guys that are going to help us on the push for a Stanley Cup, a veteran on the blue line at 41 years of age in Ryan Suter, Phil Kessel, a fan favorite, both in the real world and in this franchise mode world. He's having a good season. We bring him back to Pittsburgh where he won 2 Stanley Cups, trying to get him a 3rd Stanley Cup with Pittsburgh and a 4th Stanley Cup in his career maybe. What do you say to this, Seattle? Koepke and Cormier straight up for Kessel and Suter. Trade accepted. Trade accepted. Cole, Lucas, I wish you all the best in Seattle. It was a pleasure having you. Phil the Thrill Kessel, welcome back to Pittsburgh. And Ryan Suter, welcome to the Penguins. You 2 bellows will be added to the lineup, and then we'll take a look at how things are shaping up. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. You've been asking for it for a long time. Phil the Thrill Kessel back in Pittsburgh. He'll play on the 3rd line with his good old buddy Evgeny Malkin and the kid Berkeley Cat and the 20-year-old getting to play with 39-year-old Malkin and 38-year-old Kessel. That 3rd line now has a +3 because Kessel has a great fit on that 3rd line. On the 2nd, he would give it a +1, and then the 3rd would have a +2. Unless I move down Rust, we could do that. Hall, Crosby, Kessel, but we'll keep that in mind. Let's start off as Catton, Malkin, Kessel. From there on defense, Ryan Suter also has a great fit. He fits the 3rd pair very perfectly. So he'll play 3rd pair with Smith and give it a +1. And there we go. I was tempted to say, at the beginning of the episode, we had mentioned David Krejci, but Malkin's been slowing down a little bit. Maybe putting him on the 3rd line as centerman is the move, as opposed to bringing in Krejci, and we have too many wings. Let's move one of those wings to center and Evgeny Malkin. Hall can move up, and then Kessel can come in. And that still leaves us with Zucker and Wheeler as the extra options at forward, while Lundstrom, Smith, and Engvall will be the 4th line. All right, I'm content with that. Let's do it. Our next game is going to come against the Hurricanes on trade deadline day. Blomqvist will start as it was a back-to-back. Seattle, thank you for that deal. Once again, Lucas, Cole, thank you for your contributions to this team, especially Cole Koepke. Wishing you all the best, and we'll see you in the future. Now on deadline day at PNC Arena, we've made our deadline moves. We're not going to make anything else. Here on deadline day, we are in Carolina, looking for our 40th win of the season. Let's do it. First period, 1-0 Penguins. Leon Draisaitl, 1 minute and 54 seconds in on Kochetkov. Second period, 2-1. 2-1. Brian Rust made it 2-0. Then Svechnikov scores on the power play to bring this game back within 1. Shots are 24-23 for the Hurricanes, and we're up by 1 here in the 3rd period. I wonder if we should put Phil Kessel on the power play. I wonder. We'll keep that in mind as we start to see how he does back on this team. We kill off that Hurricanes power play. Now a power play of our own, and Chris Letang capitalizes to make it a 3-1 Penguins lead. Up by 2 with under 5 to go. Being outshot, but still hanging on tight. Blomqvist standing tall, and we will come away with the 3-1 victory. Shots ending 34-29 in the Hurricanes' favor. But Blomqvist makes 33 saves. Rust had the game-winning goal. That's what we love to see. That new second line, Hall, Crosby, and Rust. And that is win number 40, ladies and gentlemen. Ian Mitchell going on waivers. 2 years left at league minimum. He's an 80 overall. Woo! And a right D. Yeah, I think we're going to go pick up Ian Mitchell. Why not? That's depth for next season. Ian Mitchell, welcome to the Penguins organization. Like when we got Isaac Lundstrom last year. Any other moves around the NHL? After our trade, we see Seattle acquiring Christian Dvorak, Gus the Bus, Philip Gustafson going to San Jose from Minnesota. McCabe ends up going from the Red Wings to the Ducks. I was thinking about McCabe and Wallman, obviously, but Suter being on the same team as Kessel kind of sealed it in my mind. Lucas Dostal going back the other way with Nathan Gaucher to Detroit. Liljegren going to the Bruins, interesting. Connor Garland to the Blue Jackets. Alex Pietrangelo to the Panthers. Noah Hannafin back to the Hurricanes. Marcus Pettersson, former Penguin, going to the Blues. Jake DeBrusk, former Penguin as well, going to the Devils. Eric Howlett to the Oilers. All right, a few moves around the NHL. I wouldn't say anything league-shattering. I think that Pietrangelo deal was pretty big. But all right, good to keep note of. And you know what? I think I'm going to give Blomqvist another start. Speaking of the Panthers, one of the best teams in the league, maybe they're second best, I'm not sure. They're 39-17-6, one less win than us. They just picked up Alex Pietrangelo. Blomqvist had a great 3-1 victory there against the Hurricanes, making over 30 saves. Let's give him another start against this Panthers team post-deadline. First period, Ty Smith opens it up just a minute and 15 seconds in. Brady Tkachuk ties it on the power play. Brian Rust restores our lead, and then Josh Mahura 7 seconds later ties it back up at 2. Shots 17-9 Florida through 20. Second period, 3-2 Panthers. Pionk scoring 45 seconds into the period. Shots are 31-14 for the Panthers through 40 minutes. Being outshot by double, but we're only down by 1. We are still in this game, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go, boys. Let's get one right here. We've been given this opportunity. Power play Panthers. Killed off. There we go. We're only down by 1. Forget the shots. We're coming back 35-25. Let's get one here. Let's be clinical in this finishing. Phil, I'm looking at you. Power play. Killed off. Final minute. Oh, and that ends up being a 3-2 regulation loss. That's brutal from a second period goal. Rust, the first star of the game somehow. David Riddick puts on a show. Taylor Hall had 2 assists, but we dropped that one in regulation. Too bad. Blomqvist looked good, though. So you know what? I'm going to give him another start against the Bruins. Then I'm going to go Blackwood against the Panthers, Blomqvist against the Sabres, and then reevaluate moving forward from there. So Blomqvist between the pipes at home here against the Bruins. We win 4-3 in a shootout. Blackwood back in for this game against the Panthers. We're seeing them just a few days after that 3-2 regulation loss. Their record is now 41-17-6, same amount of wins as we have. Let's slow sim this one once again. This time we're in Sunrise, Florida. First period, 0-0. Shots 17-4 in our favor now. We come out guns blazing. Second period, 4-0 Penguins. That's what we want to see. Aaron Ekblad against his old team just 21 seconds into the period. Gensel on the power play. DeBrincat on the power play. And then Isaac Lundstrom down on that fourth line. Spencer Knight gets pulled. David Riddick, the man who was the hero last time, he lets in one pretty quickly as well, or at least fairly quickly, maybe 10 minutes after getting in. Shots 28-15 in our favor, headed into the third period, up 4-0. Mackenzie Blackwood did not want to lose that crease, and Phil Kessel scores his first goal back as a Penguin to make it 5-0. Janssen Fjallby breaking the shutout for Blackwood, but we're still up 5-1. Phil the Thrill, welcome home. Power play Panthers, let's call it there. 6-1 the final. Ty Smith adds another. He's scoring a couple of goals there in the last 3 games. Lundstrom, a goal and 2 assists for first star. Okay. Blackwood, 28 saves. Ty Smith, a goal and an assist. Blackwood, buddy, you got your crease back. I'm going to give you even back-to-back starts. Why not? You had a little bit of rest. Now let's go back to the calendar. Let's sim through the next back-to-back against the Rangers and the Capitals and get to the one after that against the Blue Jackets and the Leafs before we get Blomqvist back in there. Assume that Blackwood continues the type of pace he's been on. 4-3 loss, 5-3 loss. Okay, Rangers again, can't lose 2 in a row. We do. Okay, all right, that win saved you, Blackwood, but still, 4-3, 5-3, 4-1 loss, 3 consecutive regulation losses before we break it with a 5-3 win against the Capitals. The Flyers are a poverty team right now. That means they're about to blow us out 7-0. In Philadelphia, on the road, we win 6-3, all right. Win number 44. Against the Blues in St. Louis, we win 4-3, all right. 3 consecutive losses followed by 3 consecutive wins. We could do that. And I hadn't noticed, and then a 5-0 victory, okay. I hadn't noticed that it's back-to-back here against the Islanders and the Blackhawks, but seeing as how Blackwood just got a shutout, let's keep him in for one more on the road in Chicago, and that will be a 6-3 victory. All right, 3 consecutive losses followed by 5 consecutive wins. 47-18-8 is our record, and we'll put Blomqvist in for this one against the Blue Jackets. Here at Nationwide Arena against a divisional rival on the road. 3-1 victory. Well done, Jesper. Jesper, what am I saying? I'm thinking Jesper Boqvist. but it's Joel Blomqvist. My goodness. Thank you, Joel. Didn't mean to offend you. Blackwood back between the pipes now for this game against the Maple Leafs on the road in Toronto. We lose 3-2 in the shootout. Against the Red Wings, we lose 4-1 in regulation. Looking for win number 50 here. Come on, big five. Now this game against the Capitals, that is. 5-4 victory against the Lightning to make it 49. And there it is, a 7-1 victory to give us number 50 on the season. 4 games left in the year. At the halfway point, we are on pace to win 54. But let's win all 4 of these. Why not? The Canadians are 49, 22, and 7. Oh my goodness. And of course, we did clinch a postseason berth. Very well done. We are currently tied with the Rangers with 109 points, though, so it's going to come down to the wire. Here is game number 79 against the Canadians at the Bell Center contre les Canadiens Montréal. Here we go. On y va. First period, 1-1. Gensel opens up on the power play, then Nick Suzuki ties it back just a minute and 4 seconds later. Second period, 3-3. Gensel and then Zadarov make it 3-1 Penguins, but then Suzuki has a hat-trick within, 35 minutes and 54 seconds. Before the second period is over, Nick Suzuki has a hat-trick. 3-3 game. The fans are going crazy in Montreal as the captain gets a hat-trick. 3-3 shots, 25-19 in our favor into the final 20 minutes here. They're buzzing on St. Catherine. Here we go. Final 12 minutes or so. No scoring after an eventful second period. Halfway point, and we're still down to next goal might be the winner. Final 5 minutes, and shots are 30-25 in our favor. Could we see overtime in the final minute of regulation? And yes, we will. Shots end 33-29 for the Penguins. Headed into the 5 minutes of 3-on-3 overtime. Josh Morrissey wins it. 4-3 Penguins the final. Shots end 34-30, and we come away with that extra point, and we needed it. Suzuki hat-trick, Caulfield 3 assists, but Gensel with 2 goals, and the rest of the team with a solid performance to give us win number 51. Now we have the Islanders, the Devils, and the Sabres. 2 teams below 500. The Islanders are going to be tough. I think we're going to give this start against the Islanders to Blomqvist to kind of keep him fresh-ish headed into the postseason. And the last 2 games of the year will be Blackwood as he's ready to get into postseason mode. So Blomqvist will start here. I'll sim it in the calendar so you don't get any spoilers for who's leading the team in points. At home against the Islanders, it is a 3-1 victory. Well done, Joel. Blackwood now in for these last 2 games of the season. First off, in New Jersey against his old team, the Devils, for win number 53. Hang on tight. Crosby's healthy. Okay, that's good to know. It's a 3-2 shootout victory. All right. So here we are, game number 82, looking for our 54th win. Actually, better our first half by just a little bit. We were on pace to go 54, 20, and 8. This win would bring us to 54, 19, and 9. So let's see what happens against the 37, 42, and 1 Buffalo Sabres at home at PPG Paints Arena in Pittsburgh for the last game of year number 3. First period, 0-0. Second period, 1-1. Shots were 18-6 after the first. 35-17 after the second. JJ Peterka opens up the scoring, then Leon Draisaitl ties it up against former Penguin Tristan Jarry. Headed into the third period, doubling the Sabres shots. We are just peppering Tristan Jarry, but he's hanging on tight in this final game of the season. And hold on, Phil Kessel gives us the lead 2-1. Then Tage Thompson ties it right back 2-2. Shots are 41-22 for the Penguins, almost doubling through over 50 minutes of play. Final 5 minutes of the regular season, and Leon Draisaitl on the power play puts us ahead, but then Rasmus Dahlin ties it. Final 2 minutes, 1 minute left, and that's going to be overtime. Shots end 45-26 through 60 minutes, and we're headed to overtime in game number 82. Overtime in Pittsburgh, looking for win number 54 here against the Sabres. The very least, we'll end the season with only 19 regulation losses, so at least that's bettering the first half. But let's try and get that 54th win. Dahlin from the point. That doesn't make it through traffic, blocked by his own man. Draisaitl up to DeBrincat. Here's the cat, Alex DeBrincat. Can't quite go over the blue line, and there's offside. Draisaitl wins that draw. Nobody's there. Wonderful. All the way back down the ice. DeBrincat, go get board pinned in your own zone. That is exactly what the doctor ordered. Well done. There you go. Classic EA. Thompson, Dahlin, one-timer, oh, what a save from Blackwood! But then Tage Thompson scores on the rebound. What a joke of a sequence that was. win the faceoffs, go all the way down the ice, then get board pinned in your own zone as you're just, where do I go? Left, right? What do I do? How do I exit the zone? What? And then a sprawling save. No one helps him out. And just a goal on the doorstep right there. Blackwood, you did what you could as we dropped that one 4-3 in overtime, despite outshooting the Sabres 45-28. We will end the season with a record of 53, 19, and 10. Not too shabby. We'll just advance another day so that everyone can get game number 82 over and done with. A couple days actually, and now we can check the rest of the league. So here in this third season with the Penguins, we won the Metropolitan Division in back-to-back years, the Eastern Conference in back-to-back years, but did we win the President's Trophy in what would be the first time since 1993 and just the second time in franchise history? Yes, we did! By 1 point over the New York Rangers. We are President's Trophy champions for the first time in 33 years. What a season. 53, 19, and 10 is our record in the end. By the way, speaking of franchise records, these 53 wins were good enough to be the second most all-time in Penguins history, second only to the 56 that they got the last time they won the President's Trophy in 1993. And I forgot to mention the 51 wins that we got last season was good enough to tie for third most all-time. So in our 3 seasons with the Penguins, year number 2 tied for third most wins all-time, and now year number 3, second most wins all-time. How about that? 3.39 goals for per game, not even the highest in the league, still among the best, but not the highest. 2.70 goals against per game, and that is second best or second least most. Very nice. Power play of 21.4% dropped a little bit, but it still ends up being tied for second best in the NHL. Washington somehow in 28th place had the other. And our penalty kill at 82%, that did drop off quite a bit actually. Is that close to what, 86 I think it was? Now it's among what, the bottom 10 in the league? So we should probably look at fixing the penalty kill headed into the postseason. Yeah, penalty kill, very wonky, but great season totals as we get our second President's Trophy in franchise history, led by Leon Draisaitl in his first season with the team. He was on pace for 74 points. He ends with 87, going over point per game, doing pretty much what he does in this simulation. That's why he signed for 11.25 and not 16 million. Despite the 96 overall, he is about a point per game plus player. Not really consistently 100 plus or anything like that. 87, one of his lowest in years technically, but we'll take that. Very well done from Leon in this simulation, of course. Take it all with a grain of salt. DeBrincat ends with 43 goals and 75 points. Didn't hit 50 goals, but he passed the 74 points that he was on pace to get. Sidney Crosby had a great second half, scoring in the end 69 points through 80 games. Very nicely done from the 38-year-old captain, now down to 84 overall. Josh Morrissey ends with 64 points in his first full season as a Penguin. Incredible. Great pickup from the Jets last year at the halfway point. Very nice to see that. Jake Gensel slowed down a little bit, ends with 63 points. Still a solid season, better than last year as well, in 5 more games played. And we'll take it, but I would like to see a bit more, especially on that first line with a +5. Evgeny Malkin ended the season with 59 points in a full 82-game campaign, 39 years of age for him as well. Phil the Thrill Kessel, 80 overall on the third line, scores 7 goals and 9 points and is a +7 through 21 games played. Incredible stuff from Phil. Very nicely done. Taylor Hall ends with 53 points. We can take that on the middle 6. Letang, 52 points. Brian Rust slowed down, ends with 46. Same as last year, I think. Yeah, same as last year when he was on pace to get like mid-50s. He ends with the same amount as last year, but a +30 and not a -5, and doing it with about a minute less of ice time per night. So we'll take that from Rust. Berkeley Catton ends his rookie year with 44 points. Very nicely done. Ekblad with 43. That's great to see from the free agent pickup. Lundstrom ends with 26. So he picked it up a bit more after we put him on the 4th line. But yeah, okay, we can take 26 points. We weren't expecting the world from him. Ty Smith, 22-point season. He had like 7 assists at the halfway point. He was on pace for 14 assists. No goals, 14 assists. He ends with 5 goals, 17 assists. Okay. Ty Smith, I see you. Ryan Suter on that third pair. How is he? The veteran, 1 assist, a -2. You know what? When I checked earlier, he had a much better plus minus. So I think that -2 might be a little bit more just of bad luck in the last few games more than anything. But 1 assist, -2 for a veteran guy in the blue line. Ty Smith, his partner's doing well. We can live with that. Zadorov, 16 points and a +16. Engvall, 15 points in 65 games. Nate Smith played a full 82 and scored 14 points. Zucker never really played again. Neither did Hayek or Wheeler, but they're still there in the press box. Goaltending now. In the end, Mackenzie Blackwood goes 39, 14, and 6 with 4 shutouts on the season. 909 save percentage and 2.69 goals against average. Not quite those same Vezina numbers, but still very impressive. Blomqvist went 16, 6, and 4. His numbers got a lot better in the second half. 915 save percentage and 2.54 goals against average. We won't be afraid to turn to him if needed in the postseason. And afraid as in scared. Blackwood definitely has the crease, but if we were to have to go to our backup, we wouldn't be scared in doing so. League leader Matthew Tkachuk ends with 98 points. Defenseman in the NHL, Adam Fox with 88. Tiny Stolarz Jr. gets 74. The rookie created prospect. Goaltenders in the NHL, most wins go to Spencer Knight with 44. If we look at, and Blackwood also in fourth with a 39, but if we look at minimum, let's say 40 games played and sort by the save percentages, let's see how we're looking. Yeah, Blackwood's not too far down that list. I would say that Kochetkov is definitely the front runner for the Vezina this season, but not too shabby from Blackwood. Finally, let's check out the rookie skaters from especially the 5 created players that we had this season in the league. Tiny Stolarz Jr. scores 74 points, and he'll likely win the Calder. Sean Avery, 42 goals and 71 points with the Ducks. He's still at an 82 overall. Stolarz at an 82 as well. Milan Mihalik Jr., 18 goals and 53 points with the Winnipeg Jets. And lastly, there he is, Carly Ray Jamson, 20 goals, 20 assists, 40 points, -12 through 82 games with the Detroit Red Wings, excuse me. There he is, the 6'9" behemoth. And rookie goalies did, no Miles O'Brien, just Yaroslav Askarov there starting for the Predators. And if you're curious about AHL scoring, Braden Yeager led the team this season down in the AHL. 69 points in 72 games from the hopefully eventual top 6 centerman who we drafted 20th overall in 2023, and who the Penguins drafted 14th overall in 2023 in the real world. Other people that we were keeping an eye on, Callan Lind, 44 points from him. Still 73 overall. He should get some decent growth. And goaltenders, it was Lindbergh starting most of the games. He had some decent numbers. Legend from the Sharks series. We'll always keep him in our hearts. And Owen Pickering, 33-point season in his second year in the AHL after he got 43 points last season. That was with Lucas Cormier. This season he was playing with Henry Thrun. More ice time, bigger role, probably more defensive responsibility as opposed to being able to jump in on the offense with Cormier and some of the higher overall players who were released last season. Regardless, nice season from Pickering on the top pair. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Headed into the postseason, those are our numbers. And in round number 1, we will be facing the New York Islanders. We beat the Islanders in 5 games in the second round last season on our way to the Stanley Cup final, so they will want revenge in the first round this season. Just a quick refresher for us for the Islanders lineup, if you're curious to see that. Bo Horvat, Matthew Barzal, Joe Pavelski at 41 years of age, he's still there. Not the craziest depth on defense. Romanov, Dobson, Pulick to a great top 4, and of course Ilya Sorokin at a 91 there starting. But we broke through him last season. Hopefully we can do that again. Headed into the postseason, we have to think about our line combos, our special teams. Be sure to leave a suggestion down in the comments or over on the Discord server. Do you want to see Kessel higher in the lineup? Maybe swap him with Rust? Go +1. It would still be +1, +3. I thought it would be different. No, +1, +3 would still be maintained. Maybe Gensel moves off that top line. He was good, but not incredible. On defense, do we keep the pairs as they have been? I would think most likely. And then goaltending, are we still happy to roll with Mackenzie Blackwood? But finally, penalty kill. These have been our units. This is unit number 1, Draisaitl, Rust, Morrissey, Ekblad. Unit 2 is Crosby, Lundstrom, Zadorov, Letang. Unit 3 is is Smith, Engvall, Smith, and Ekblad. So you would think, of course, obviously that third unit looks the weakest. Don't get as much ice time, though, as the third unit. So I would say, yes, let's fix the third unit a little bit, but let's also make sure to focus on units 1 and 2, because if we fix the third one that's barely ever playing, the main issues, which seem to be with units 1 and 2, would never be getting touched at all. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Year number 3 comes to a close. Our first President's Trophy in 33 years, the second in franchise history. Crazy to think that the Penguins have only won it once up until the real world 2023 with all their Stanley Cups. But now they have won it in 1993 and in 2026. What did you think about this second half? Did you like the deadline moves of Kessel and Suter? And as I mentioned, be sure to leave your suggestions on the lineup headed into the postseason. A quick little piece of news headed into the rest of our franchise mode series here with the Penguins. With NHL 24 now about a couple of months away, I was thinking from now on, as opposed to doing each season in 4 episodes, season part 1, season part 2, playoffs, and off season, I think that every season will now be 3 episodes. Season in 1 episode, playoffs in 1 episode, off-season in 1 episode. On top of that, I would like to do a few of those headed into the next couple months as live streams. As always, the finale of our series is a live stream, but I would like to do a few more headed into the end of the series as a live stream as well. So we're definitely not wrapping up the series just yet, but I just want to let you know, with time starting to dwindle down a little bit, moving forward, seasons will no longer be part 1 and part 2. They will be done as 1, and we can get through a whole season in 3 episodes as opposed to 4. Speaking of NHL 24, the reveal trailer will be coming out tomorrow if you're watching this when this gets uploaded on August the 16th. So be sure to subscribe for my live reaction to that, as well as all the other news surrounding NHL 24, our ongoing franchise mode series, and of course our career simulations. If you haven't checked out the Adam Fantilli Blue Jacket simulation just yet, be sure to do so. Leave a like if you enjoyed this second half, and as I mentioned, please do leave all your thoughts down here in the comments or over on the Discord server, link in the description, and I will leave you there. After having lost the Stanley Cup in 2025, we are back in the postseason in 2026 with the President's Trophy and a lot to prove, so I hope that you will be along for the ride.